Tax day right around the corner. A lot of busy people filing maybe at the last minute. Let's go talk to an actual expert. Our next guest is here to help navigate some of those common mistakes for crypto investors. And here she is with more insight. It's TurboTax tax expert Lisa Greene-Lewis. Lisa, thank you for making time for us. I'm sure you are very busy. How's it been this year?
Oh, super busy this year, but thank you for having me.
All right, so let's just start with the absolute basics. If I'm a crypto investor, what are like the few things that trigger a taxable event? What are the things that I have to have in my mind when I'm filing my taxes that I should be aware of that the IRS might take me to task over?
Yes, the first thing to keep in mind, you don't have a transaction that's taxable until you sell your crypto. So you will either have a long-term capital gain, or you could have a loss as well, or you will have a short-term. If you hold on to your crypto for longer than a year and sell it, you'll have a long-term capital gain or loss. And then if it's under that, you'll have a short-term.
Okay, so say I'm a customer of a big exchange, a Coinbase, a Kraken. Do they have any reporting requirements? Am I going to get a tax document from these exchanges? Is that something that people are expecting? And should they be corrected in that expectation? What does the exchange have to do as it relates to its customers?
Yeah, so there are certain situations. So if you sell your crypto, these exchanges are not required to issue you a 1099B. That will not be until tax year 2023. Now, if you have other types of transactions, like if you're getting a reward of some type, you may see a 1099 miss, and that's if your reward is $600 or more.
Got you. Okay. Any other, before we get into sort of advanced level crypto taxes, any other like common mistakes that you're seeing at filing time from crypto investors? How are people just getting themselves wrecked by messing up this whole thing? What are some pitfalls that you can help future tax filers avoid?
I think, there's some other situations we didn't talk about where you could have a taxable event. So if you're paid in crypto, for instance, that will appear on a 1099 if you're paid as a contractor. So that will be included in your ordinary income. Or, if you're paid as an employee in crypto, that'll be on your W-2. So that's something to keep in mind. It'll already be incorporated in your income that shows up on those forms. And if you're paid as a contractor, also remember, you could take some deductions if you're considered self-employed.
So tax loss harvesting, because this is something that's very, very close to my heart. This past year, 2022, at the beginning of 2022, I bought $100 each in about 100 or so different cryptocurrencies. And at December 31st, I sold them all and took a beating in each one. Now, how is it going to work in crypto? Is it any different than in stocks? Do I have to wait a period to repurchase the currencies, individual currencies? What happens there? Or do I have to wait 3 months, or can I do it? Could I have done it January 2nd, January 1st to start my position again? What are the rules around this?
So with crypto, although a lot of the rules are similar to stocks, there are not wash sales rules. That's what you're talking about right now. With stocks, you have to wait a certain period of time after you sell and then repurchase. But with crypto, that's not in place. One thing that is similar in crypto, if you have a loss, you can offset that loss against your gains. And then if you have a net loss, you can offset up to $3,000 against your ordinary income.
And if after that $3,000, that can roll over, correct? Or
Correct. That's one important thing to remember. A lot of times people forget that when they go to the next year that they have a carry forward loss, but that's really important in lowering your taxes.
It is very important for me over the next couple of years.
Yes.
I'll say that. more
All
than
right,
a couple of years.
I got a couple more questions. Specific to the quirks of the carnage of 2022. We have all these failed exchanges. We have lending platforms that are frozen or in bankruptcy proceedings. I'm thinking about FTX US. I'm thinking about Celsius. I know Bloomberg reported that Celsius users who have their funds trapped on that platform may still have to pay taxes on that to the IRS. Are there any sort of tips, tricks, or things that you're seeing relative to this string of crypto platform failures that may impact how people have to file their taxes?
So overall, what I would say, those platforms that are going through bankruptcy proceedings, the investors, they do have to wait and see how everything shakes out. I know with Celsius, I believe that they found that some of the investors would get some of their money back, but you can't take a loss until everything is finalized. Once everything is deemed, if you had investments and it was deemed worthless, you would be able to take a loss up to $3,000 on your investment, and then that could carry forward if it's more than that.
Gotcha. Another new one, I guess, for potentially next year is how the IRS is going to consider NFTs. I saw some reporting, some statements around potentially classifying those more along the lines of collectibles rather than what they're viewed as now by the IRS. How should people? What should people be aware about as it relates to their NFTs?
Yeah, so if you've created an NFT right now, and you sell it, it's included in income. So you may receive a 1099K, for instance, if you, had your payment processed through a third-party provider. So it is still income. And then for investors of NFTs, it's the same thing. If you sell that NFT and it's an investment, you could have a capital gain or loss.
So how would that make it different than as if it were a collectible? What are the differences that are going to happen or could happen should the IRS change its views of NFTs?
I would have to see, there are specific guidelines. Usually with collectibles, you do have to have an appraisal. I'm not sure how they will do that, but usually collectibles like artwork, you need an appraisal to deem it as a collectible.
Okay, last but not least, for any delinquent people, not delinquent, but any slackers here who are just waking up to the reality that they have to get this stuff done by next week. People in news, they love a good deadline. Not naming any names here, but people who are motivated by a deadline, who have yet to act, those last minute filers, what advice you have for them here on April 14th?
Well, you still have time, and you can come to TurboTax. And one thing, you can import up to 20,000 crypto transactions at once, and 10,000 stock transactions. And you can also hand your taxes over to our tax experts. And we have tax experts that specialize in crypto. So you still have time.
Okay. That's all right. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that plug. And thank you for all the insights shared here on the show. Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you.
That was Lisa Greene-Lewis from TurboTax.